Hello everyone, this is Dr. Russel Schafer. So a small little update on my course coming up in November. Currently I've got 6 people signed up for it due to a mistake on my end. Actually, I guess mostly I didn't read the contract well enough. The site I was planning to use to host my event canceled on me last minute. But I'm actually kind of fortunate in that the group I have is small enough where I can actually do everyone in my office. And that actually makes it kind of cool because we can actually start playing with our printers. And so I've got enough room for one more person. If you want to come to my course in November, I'd love to have you. If not, if you want to make a future course, I'm fine with that too. But I kind of want to go through a case that I'll be going through in a couple months. I'm sorry, next month, um, where I'm going through how to do like a aesthetic mock-up for a patient, like how to do almost snap-on smile, and do it for essentially free almost, or maybe a couple bucks with the resin if you got the printer, and do it through BlueSkyPlan. So let me give you the backstory. This patient came to me a couple months ago in early August. Patient didn't like the way his front teeth look. They're a little bit small. They're a little bit, there's some diastema up between them just because of acid erosion and also just tooth and arch length discrepancies. So the patient really just wants to have a smile that looks a little bit more full to me. And he had some periodontal we may go through that first. But afterwards, after going through the whole thing, he's gone through everything I want him to go through for infection control. I said, yeah, we can look at doing the crown bridge now for you. And so whenever I do a case like this, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's a really aesthetically different case, obviously. I find that for some cases, especially when wear is present, we can do kind of a snap-on smile just to show the patient what I'm thinking. And so I like to go through how I did it. So I open up BlueSkyPlan. We click on the crown bridge module. Now for this one, we're going to go to click on the bridge module. And the reason you want to do the bridge module is because the bridge module will simply you put teeth over it and you can subtract out the model. And that doesn't make much sense right now, maybe to some of y'all, but I'll show you why. So we already did the case actually last week, but I'll work it up again. So we're going to open up the lower jaw and upper jaw. I scanned this on my Aerial Scan 2. It's a backup scanner that I had. This patient has the hygiene for his 6-week perio maintenance. Everything looked clean, and so just because my room that I have my i500 in was like busy at the time, I did my Aerial Scan 2. So we're first going to align it in BlueSkyPlan. Right now it's already aligned. The Shiny 3D actually aligns everything with BlueSkyPlan. My i500 never aligns things in BlueSkyPlan. I can't figure out what option is. I'm sure Armin understands better than I do, but I never really quite cared to figure it out because it's so easy to fix. So we select the maxillary model, maxilla, and then we click dentate, continue to alignment, and I follow the little guide it has on the top right side. So hold down Shift, click on the second molar central fit, click on 8, 9, incisal edge, and click on number 15 as well. And so we hit continue, finish. Great, everything is aligned up now. Now let's continue to the bridge design. So we're first going to hide the bottom model. We can look at his teeth right now. I actually kind of like where the incisal edge position is. Unfortunately, to do kind of an additive wax up here, I'm going to need to add just a little bit to the teeth here, just because otherwise it won't print out properly. You need about a 0.5 millimeter thickness at least for things to print out right. Anything beyond that, anything under that, you just don't get a very promising print. Like it just can't do it that well. But I'll show you how we do it here. So let's right mouse click, toggle visibility to hide it. And let's pull up some teeth now. Now in the library, the one thing BlueSkyPlan always gets a lot of help for is the limited library. You really don't need that big of a library, honestly, in my opinion, for most cases. I think we dentists like to think that everyone really cares a lot about different shapes and sizes, but unless you're doing like really, really, really advanced aesthetics, it probably doesn't matter that much, honestly. I like the Mitchhurst Pontic library for something like this. If I was doing denture case, I like the Mitchhurst Flat Anatomy library. But let's pull up the Pontic library here. We're going to hold down Shift and click on 7, 8, 9, 10, and hit OK. Now I'm hold down Shift again to kind of let it center onto the model that I want to go to, and left mouse click. And good, we got some teeth that are kind of chained together, as we call it. Chain meaning like this circles that you see, where I can move everything as one unit. And I like to put 8, 9 where I think they should go. Let's make sure everything's lined up. Perfect. Great. Now let's start moving the teeth just a little bit more here. Try to really get 8 and 9 where you want them to be at mesiodistally, because otherwise things get a little more kooky as you work along with it. We're going to go to the right, click on Tooth Edit Panel, Manipulate Models, and for right now, I will lock all the laterals, and actually I might hide them just to make things a little easier to see. So let us work on number 8 first. I will lock number 9, and let's move number 8 around here a little bit. So let's rotate it a little bit. Let's thicken it buccally a little bit. Let's thicken it mesiodistally a little bit so it covers everything. Perfect. And just because I know to print it out correctly, you can go like this. Right here, I want to give a little bit of incisal-lingual lengthening as well. Perfect. Let's lock it right there. Same thing on number 9. Number 9, let's lengthen it mesiodistally a little bit, widen it, I guess. Let's lengthen it a little bit incisogingivally. And let's thicken it slightly here. Now, obviously you might say like, oh yeah, these teeth are way too big. But what's kind of nice here is if these teeth are too big in the mouth, you can actually take a handpiece and just cut them right back as soon as you kind of just put them in the patient's mouth so the patient gets a better idea. And I find that for some of this, cases like this where, the printer honestly can't print below 0.5 millimeter predictably, especially for some of these resins. I find that, sometimes modifying stuff chairside makes things a little bit easier. But so great, we got a little tooth right there. And next let's do 7 and 10. So let's make sure those things are visible. We go to the Tooth Surfaces panel on the right side. Let's do the right maxillary incisor first on number 7. Unlock it by right-clicking and clicking Unlock. Manipulate Model. And let's start playing around with it so that we get to pull it where we want to go to. Let's pull it a little more facially here. Let's widen it a little bit mesiodistally. Perfect. Let's move it down a little bit incisally. Good. Good, good, good. Let's move it down a little more incisally. And I wish I could tell you I was an aesthetics guru, but I really am not. I just like to do trions a lot. And so this is just kind of where I'm thinking where things would go right now. Let's actually move it just a little bit. Let's just move it a little bit just to kind of square it up a little bit. And I kind of like the way that looks right there. Let's lock that one right there. Now let's do 10. Great, same sort of thing. Right click, unlock it, pull it facially, pull it buccally, whatever you want to say. Let's widen it a little bit. Great. Let's pull it over to the distal a little bit. Great. Great. So we got our and let's just pull it down just a little bit here. Let's actually lengthen it a little bit incisogingivally. So we get some teeth. They are bigger teeth, but you can see right now how you can kind of imagine if we subtracted out the model right now, we would actually have like 4 teeth that kind of fit pretty well. So we got teeth right now. Let's see how everything looks together. I already know it's going to be hyperocclusion. That's not a big deal to me because I already know I'll be reducing a lot of lingual, the millimeter or so to get the right space I need. But let's try to play with the aesthetics just a little bit more here. Let's widen the mesial a little bit here. Widen the distal a little bit here. Great. Actually, let's shrink the mesial just a little bit here. And let's widen the distal and the incisor just a little bit here. Let's lock it again. I like to do one tooth at a time because the software will jump around a little bit. Great, great, great. A little bit too much. Good. Lock it again here. And right now we got some teeth that are in a wax up. You can disagree with this wax up. I will completely agree with you. And let's say you just want to do like a traditional way of like just doing like a, take this as a master cast and export it as a wax up. You would easily do it like go File, Export Data, and you export the teeth with the model. And actually, I should say first, let's go back. You would want to have the model be a solid model. Right now it's hollow just because it's only one surface, but that's easy to do in BlueSkyPlan. We would go to Model Manipulation, click on Hollow Model for upper jaw maxilla, And if you want to export that, we can export all this as one piece right here. And we got a little extra stuff right here. Let me fix it to show you how to do it. So in this case right here, let's delete this model right here. Let's go back to this one. We see like this is the extra piece that's included in the model. We go to cut, hold down the left mouse key, and you can just kind of just lasso whatever's there. It deletes it. Don't worry about this. Okay. Let's go back to model manipulation. Let's hollow the model again. And now if you wanted to export everything as one piece, you go File, Export Data. You click on the hollow model, you click on the 4 teeth that you've modified, hit Export. And let's just call this Waxup model. If you're using Accurata or any other CAM software, you simply just click on the CAM software. In this case, it's Alpha 3D, which is a good little one Accurata makes. I think it does a good, efficient job with everything. You would choose your printer right now. I use my Dentique. I got a Dentique. It's a really good little printer. Or you can do the Soul, just depending on the build platform. I find the medium build platform and the Soul is a really efficient one, honestly, for most uses. We would find the model, which would be, let's see here, and I would pull that model over to my Soul. I would orient it in a different way. And from there, you can see right there, you can literally have a wax up ready to go, where you just do a suck down on this thing. And the patients, you can kind of modify the suck down just a little bit as you need it. But anyway, just kind of a cool little aside if you prefer doing things kind of more the old school way. But let's go back to this case again. So continue the bridge design. We will go back to the regular model because that's just the easier one to see. And let's see here. So we probably saw, if you looked at the model right here, that 8 and 9 just look a little bit off just because I didn't really play with the gingival margins too much. Not a big deal. So let's go to these tooth edit panel. Just lock the models because this will happen, otherwise it gets really annoying. And we can kind of pull them back just a little bit here so we can kind of hide that little bit of that cervical edge that's wanting to be shown right now. Kind of widen them as needed here. Great. That looks a little bit better now to us. Perfect. So expand it. Let's see here. Let's make everything. That looks pretty good to me right there. Great. Now the big thing with these ones right here is, I messed this up right here. We got to modify the tooth just a little bit more. Great. Let's thicken it slightly here. Great. Now the big thing with these ones, you gotta have the thickness like I was talking about beforehand. So let's just kind of add a little bit of thickness around everything. You do tooth edit panel, hold down Shift, click Add Remove, and then you can kind of just add a little bit here. Now let's make them thicker, but also make it easier for everything to get printed out. I like to really thicken up the lingual. That way it's got enough nice base to it. Obviously the occlusion's off, but that's not a big deal, honestly, because like this is just a trial. We'll lock number 9 right now. Let's unlock number 10, same sort of thing. Thicken up the lingual really nicely here. Perfect. Lock it again. Number 8, let's see what it looks like. Let's actually see the transparency, see how much thickness we got there. I like the thickness number 8. That looks pretty good for me right now. I think that the printer, my Soul will be able to do that pretty easily. So we will untransparent that and we'll lock it. But obviously number 7 right here, just the thickness is not appropriate. We can see right here how it's just the incisal edge on the lingual, just a little bit too thin. You can see the show through right here. So let's add to it. Hold down Shift and just add, I like to have a nice thick lingual surface. Perfect. So good. We have a wax up now. Ooh, let's fix this little part right here that I don't like. Lock number 7. You can see this. Unlock number 8. Hold down Control, and let's just delete this little part right here. Perfect. So we kind of followed the gingival margins just a little bit better than we originally did. And so now we've got a wax up here that we can easily do Boolean subtract to make, you know, a bridge here. And let's fix number 8 just a little bit more. I just don't like the way it's turning out here. Rotate slightly, bring it in slightly. Good. Control right click, lock. So I'd like to print these out 3 different ways actually, or 2 different ways. Let's first print it out as a full set, and let's create a bridge from this. So we go to Restorative Design panel on the right side, click on Create Bridge. From there, the software just combines everything into one piece. And we click Next. It'll say max wall undercut, make that 0. And you want to create an insertion direction. Let's just set it from here. The brown is showing the blockouts. The blue is showing what the intaglio will look like. We click Next, and the software just creates pretty much a snap-on smile for us pretty quickly. So good. If I hide the model, you can see right here, we have 4 teeth all splinted together that, if everything works out fine, it just snaps right on in place. Whenever you're doing bigger, like, 4 units, I find that this doesn't always work like you want it to, so you get a little weird undercut that it can't quite get into. And I can say for this guy right now, I actually did the 4 units, and I couldn't get that to fit, but I like to try to do it anyway. But let's just do 2 units at a piece. So if you wanted to export this, you go File, Export, and you just make sure you're exporting the union of everything. And let's call that 7, 8, 9, 10, number 2, because I did number 1 already, and that one I liked a little bit more. So now let's just delete this file here so we don't use it again. And let's do the left first. I find that doing this piece almost in like little quadrants is a lot easier. So what you actually want to check first is to make sure that you're going to have a nice little path of draw here. So you want to make sure the central incisors are not like overlapping too much. A little overlap's not too bad, but let's see here. So I can see right here that number 9 is intruding onto number 8 in this little area right here. We've got to remove that, otherwise it just won't turn out well. And let's unlock number 9 here. And let's just delete, hold down Control. And you kind of want to delete it so it kind of gets grayed out just a little bit. Every now and then the software will, not select the tooth. You just got to click it again. But now I can see that number 8 and number 9 just don't really overlap anymore. So perfect. Let's go back. Let's untransparent number 8. Let's hide number 8. Now let's make a bridge for this. Restore Design Solutions, create bridge. Do we want to start the bridge that's already been done? No, we want to make a new bridge. It makes a union of those 2 teeth right there. Perfect. Next. Find the path of draw. Let's do this. I like this. Do a little more facially, insertion direction. Now let's go a little bit more mesial. Select undercut direction view. Get rid of all the undercut because we don't want that. That'll make things worse knowing. Control Z to kind of get back to where we had to. And now it gives us an undercut. Perfect. Now we've got a union of 9 and 10. Make the model invisible. Export 9 and 10 as a union. We'll do 9 and 10, number 2. And what's kind of cool here is that I'm not actually paying any export fees for any of this stuff. I've got a whole bunch of exports through BlueSkyPlan. You make a one-time purchase of BlueSkyPlan for like 140, 150 bucks for 6 exports, and you can do all this stuff for no charge right now, which I think is pretty darn cool. So let's go back to our models. Let's do 7 and 8 now. We will hide, actually we'll delete the other union because it'll mess things up. It'll make it harder to figure out which model we export later on. And let's do 7 and 8. Same sort of thing. Create bridge, plan new bridge. Next. Set insertion view. Let's make it a little bit more mesial. That's what I prefer. Perfect. Next. And we've got our last bridge here. So you can see right now again, you can almost imagine right now how this would just snap over those teeth right there and make everything really easy for us. So File, Export, 7, 8. Let's call it 7, 8, number 2. Perfect. Now when I go to my CAM software for my sole, we'll delete that first model we had beforehand. Just select it and hit delete. I will pull these models in there. So we'll hold down Control to kind of click everything and just drag them into the Accurata software here. I like to print in this direction right here. And actually what I do when I do these cases is I will create doubles, so I can hold down the model I want to take, hit Control C, hit Control V to paste it. Same thing again, Control C, Control V. And the reason I do this, these are kind of fragile little pieces right here. So if you break one, it's nice to just have a backup. Highlight them all by holding down the left mouse key, hit support, auto support. Perfect. It gives me a print profile for it. Slice, and we hit save and slice, and then I just throw it in my printer in 25 minutes. So, this whole process maybe took me like 10 minutes to scan, maybe another 10, 15 minutes to, put everything together. And it'll take me a half an hour to print, another 10 minutes to clean, another 15 minutes to cure. And you've got some try-ins to make right now. And man, this would, if you sell one of these cases, every couple months, that pays for the printer itself, and that pays for like learning how to do it. Anyway, I just kind of want to give everyone a kind of a taste of what I'll be teaching at my next course. And I'll be doing the same course in CAD-Ray in Vegas. Sorry, the same presentation in CAD-Ray in Vegas, and also hopefully with Jason Lipscomb come summer of 2023. Hope you enjoyed it a lot. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much, and take care.